Mr. Speaker, like I have done in times past, I rise to make a brief statement on the progress this island continues to make as we strive for excellence and indeed global recognition in youth development and sports development. Mr. Speaker, our young people continue to put their hands up. They continue to show up at some of the most grueling training sessions and toughest challenges and rise to the occasion even on the cultural stage. Since I last presented, Cicero native and former Leon Hess Comprehensive Secondary School student Julian Alfred has registered more historic accomplishments that have placed St. Lucia in the global conversation as it relates to sprinting. In a time where many in society describe our young people as indisciplined and entitled, this young St. Lucian has been so ambitious, so hardworking, so determined that her only downfall has been that she works too hard. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the occasional injuries to Miss Alfred have been as a result of having too much muscle mass. And so, Mr. Speaker, on occasion, Miss Alfred has to pull back to ensure she has sufficient fat to muscle along her bone structure. How often do you hear this about a young athlete? But as a result of a commitment, Julian has become the first St. Lucian to win a gold medal at the NCAA Championship, lowering our national 100-meter female record to 10.81 seconds. At that time, Mr. Speaker, the third fastest woman in the world. Mr. Speaker, in a world of nearly 4 billion women, a St. Lucian from the community of Cicero was in the top 3 fastest women in the world, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's no wonder way before Carnival, the member for Castries South was turning red, walking everywhere with a wide smile on his face. And he still has it even now, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Julian's exploits continued with a record-setting performance at the Caribbean Games in Guadeloupe, easing past the competition and slowing down at 11.07 seconds. A gold medal at the NCAA Championship and gold at the Caribbean Games has definitely sent a message to the world that St. Lucia is here, and St. Lucia is making noise ahead of the World Championships scheduled for Eugene, Oregon later this week. Mr. Speaker, our young athletes continue to face the post-COVID-19 development challenge with distinction. In the recently completed Caribbean Games, St. Lucia finished in the top 7 out of 30 competing nations, 4th in the English-speaking Caribbean. Of note is the 2 gold medals brought home by our swimmers, as Naima Hazel, a 17-year-old competing in the Under-23 Championship, brought home gold in the 50-meter breaststroke, defeating the Jamaican counterpart who edged past her just April, defeating her. Sweet comeback for Hazel. Hazel also won bronze in the 100 meters. Mr. Speaker, Gian London Smith was also among the medalists at the Caribbean Games, winning gold in the 50-meter fly, while Olympian Michaeli Shalmine brought home bronze in the 50-meter free. These swimmers are currently making us proud at the Sisican Championships underway in Barbados. Mr. Speaker, perhaps one of the more encouraging performances at that regional championship was the bronze medal performance by our national netball team. Our ladies in style defeated the likes of arch rivals St. Vincent and the Grenadines and regional giants Trinidad and Tobago en route to an impressive 3rd place finish. Our netball team is currently in training for other regional and international competitions, And as minister, I want them to know that this government is with them. St. Lucia's 6th medal was won in the marathon by the ageless Michael Megaboost Bissett, and our ministry has charged Michael with the responsibility of finding his successor and creating a legacy. Mr. Speaker, our young athletes continue to work tirelessly on our behalf. Our national football team, they brought back pride and dignity to this sport with an impressive 2-0 home win in front of a vibrant crowd at the Beausejour Stadium. Perhaps fittingly, our first goal on home turf was scored by Andres Remy from Marsha. And our second goal was scored by our captain sensation, Kurt Frederick from Dennery South. But Mr. Speaker, recent accomplishments recognized by our ministry have not only been in sports. Mr. Speaker, our youth has also taken the mantle and showed huge progress on the national stage in this tough time. In the recent carnival events and competitions, our young people have rejected the notion that youth feel entitled in this island. Mr. Speaker, despite having a torrid time in the Calypso arena this year, Deshaun T. Blacks Augustine has been setting every stage on fire, finishing second in the Groovy Monarch competition. Mr. Speaker, in the world of entertainment, this local vocalist is certainly one to look out for. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in our history, 6 young persons made their way into the Calypso final. In the art form generally dominated by veterans, Jürgen outperformed more than 30 Calypsonians in this year's competition to book his way to the big yard for the first time. The mighty Sizzler brushed over many competitors to break into the final. The Generator burst onto the scene for the first time and made it all the way into the big event. Mr. Speaker, the vocal goddess Reddy continues to show progress in the art form, and it is only a matter of time before she wins it all. Ocean took us back to our African roots with her melodious voice and antics, certainly one to look out for in this arena. Yet, Mr. Speaker, on the night of July 9, 2022, a young 22-year-old from the constituency of Castries North ignored all the peacocks sent his way by seasoned Calypsonians and rose to the apex of Calypso in this country. And so, Mr. Speaker, we now have 2 kings in Castries North who started their reigns at an early age. On the night of July 9th, Desra Long became the youngest Calypso king in 43 years of independence, Mr. Speaker. Long surpassed Labri's Johnny Williams, who was 26 years old when she achieved the feat. Mr. Speaker, this young man asked all of us to look at him and believe in legacy. And so a nation did. This young man is calling all the saints to ensure that we do something about St. Jude's, and this call is being yielded by this government, Mr. Speaker. Let us now all put our hands together and hail a new era of Calypso on this island, a new era ushered in by young Calypso King Desra Young. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Youth sit ready to partner with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Creative Industry for the strategic reintroduction of Junior Calypso. And as we have seen with the member for Castries South's methodic manner of implementing our cultural events, I certainly look forward to a competition with a difference in February. In light of this, we must encourage our young people from this moment to see themselves as possible Calypso kings. And so, the Ministry of Youth has decided to award Mr. Desra Long with a trip to the Mecca of Calypso. The ministry will see to it that King Desra will be in Trinidad and Tobago next year to witness firsthand the final of their Calypso monarch. In addition to this, Mr. Speaker, the ministry will award the King Desral by making him one of our new CARICOM youth ambassadors, Mr. Speaker. You see, Mr. Speaker, despite all the negativity surrounding our nation's youth, the vast majority are ready and doing the right things. The vast majority are ready to take this nation to a higher level. We must, as a government, do all that we can as a nation to encourage them and guide them along the way. And so we will. I thank you.